So we are going to start conditional structures in x86 assembly. And conditional structures basically means that we will have the compare instructions and some conditional jumps. You can say the combination of these two things make a conditional structure. So here we can see the CMP instruction. CMP means compare instruction. This compares the destination with the source and sets some flags. You have to remember one thing, that CMP instruction, whenever you find some CMP instruction anywhere in the code, it does nothing but it just sets some flags. And we have learned about flags already. You must know about flags first, okay? So neither operand is modified, like the destination or the source, none of them gets modified, but what it does, it just sets some flags. Flag means the flag will be clear or it will be set, that is 0 or 1, and that's it. So this is the syntax CMP instruction. This can be small or in capital letters, then destination and our source. So here we can see that the result of the compare instruction can be what? It can be, there are three possibilities for the result of this after this comparison. When we perform a comparison, then we can get three types of results. Any of them can occur. Like for example, our destination can be less than our source, right? Like if I am moving some operand into my destination, then it means that maybe that value that I am basically moving in destination is larger than the size of the destination. Like for example, I am moving a 32-bit value into the AL register. Now AL can only store 8 bits, or you can say 8 bits or 1 byte. It cannot store any 32-bit value. In this case, what will happen? The destination will be less than the source, right? And in that case, the carry flag will be set. We have discussed this thing already about carry flag, that it just indicates a unsigned overflow. And yes, in this case the overflow has occurred because I am moving a value, or you can say that if you write it as move destination comma source, then you are moving a value of a size that is less, like that is large than this destination. So this is not possible. So when you compare such statement, you can get to know that destination is less than source. So definitely the overflow has occurred, because you cannot store any large value into the small destination. So the carry flag will be occurred. And we don't know that if the number is going to be positive, or the result of your arithmetic operation is positive or negative, because if it is positive, and then the carry flag gets occurred. If the result is negative, then we know that the overflow flag is going to be activated, okay? So the other possibility is that your destination is going to be greater than your source. This destination is going to be greater than your source. Then in that case, the 0 flag is also going to be 0, just like here, because 0 flag cannot be affected in any way, you know. It's like if it is less, if it is greater, 0 flag has nothing to do with it. But carry flag, why carry flag is 0 and not it is set? Because we know that the number here is less and destination still has some space to accommodate a value. In that case, we know it is not any kind of overflow. No overflow has occurred. So in that case, the carry flag, or you can say the sign flag, both are going overflow flag, both are going to be 0, because none of the signed or unsigned flow has overflow has or underflow has occurred. But now in this case, when destination and source both are equal, then definitely we know carry flag will not get activated, or overflow flag will not get activated, because there is no overflow. But why the 0 flag is getting activated? This is because 0 flag, you have to remember that 0 flag acts something like an equal flag. Of course there is no equal flag, but it acts for equality also. Like if both operands are going to be equal, whenever two operands are going to be equal, 0 flag will be activated. Of course, after comparing the destination and source, then the zero flag is only going to be activated because these two are equal. And just suppose if you subtract these two values, because they both are equal, you're going to get the result 0, right? So that's why when the values are equal, your zero flag gets activated and then of else flag gets activated. Similarly, you can see for the sign flag or overflow flag as well. Sign flag is just that when the number is negative, and right now we don't know if what operation we are performing, what result we are getting. We are just assuming that we can get any of these results, and after compare instructions, only the flags get activated or unactivated, right? So this is all about the compare instruction, and then we can have some other jump instructions. Okay, these are all jump instructions. First we have JC. It means jump if carry. It means, it also, you can say that when we perform the compare instruction, our flag gets activated, and based upon that activated or unactivated flag, that jump instructions work, and they both combined make up a conditional structure, right? So this JC means jump if carry. If the carry has occurred, or if you can say the carry flag has activated, only then we have to jump. Jump where? In our code there will be some you can say the position available to jump upon, right? But we are just studying the actual mnemonic or actual word here, that is JC, jump if carry. And JNC means this represents not. Jump if not carry means if our carry flag is not activated, only then you have to jump, right? Similarly for jump if 0, jump if not 0, and this C means based upon the result of the 0 flag, these jumps will be selected. Then we have some other jump instructions as well, like JZ. We have seen this already here. Jump if 0, jump if not 0. Carry. JO means jump if overflow flag has occurred. Jump if overflow flag is not activated. JS means for sign, sign flag. When sign flag is not activated, then JNS like this. Jump if parity, we have discussed about all of these flags already. If you know about that, then this is not a difficult task. And for this, you can say the conditional structure. I have written one example, code example, where you can get the concept very easily. So here you can see I have this code, and what it basically is doing here, you can see that I am declaring some variable C character, that is C, and these strings are going to be printed as it is. Okay, now inside my main procedure I am calling the procedure read char. It just reads the character from the user, and whatever the character the user enters, it won't get displayed on the screen to him. But it doesn't mean the character is not being taken. The character will still be inputted. Okay, and where the character is going to be stored, we must know this thing already, because we know that when you used to write call read int, the result or the inputted value used to go into the EAX or AX or AL register, right, based upon the data type. Now in this case, when we perform read char, the result also gets stored in the EAX register. But we know that this is our character, that is it takes only 1 byte, so we need only the lower part of EX, that is AL. So our result gets stored into the AL register, and then I am performing this comparison. Compare AL with char. This char is what? This declared value or initialized value, that is C. I am comparing my entered value, you can say my initialized value C, with the value that the user is going to enter. And we know that the compare instructions can give only 3 sort of results. There are 3 possibilities. Either it is going to be destination and source are going to be equal, destination is going to be less, or they are both going to be equal, right? And greater. So if you can say the destination and the source are equal, then we are calling what? We are using which jump instruction? We are saying jump if equal. Where to jump? Jump to L1. This is the location where we are going to jump. This is the name of the label. You have to mention like this. And here you just write the label name. Okay, and if my destination is less than my character, then I'm saying that you have to jump to L2, then you have to jump to L3 respectively. And now it's pretty simple. If my, you can say my the entered character is suppose equal to this one, then I'm saying what, I'm moving the opposite of message 1. Message 1 means I'm going to display on the screen that both are equal, and then jump to exit label. And next case, if suppose if my AL is entered character is less than C, then I'm calling this L2 offset of message to is what, entered character is smaller. This will be displayed on the screen. In the next case, what I'm doing, suppose if this AL is greater than this character, like user enters Z, which is definitely greater than C, in that case I'm moving the offset of message 3 on the EDX, which is saying that the entered character is large. And then I'm at the last moving to which this JMP means jump instruction. This is also a jump instruction, but unconditional jump. Like these are conditions, like you have to jump only if this is equal, jump only if less, jump only if greater. But in this case we have no any condition, but just simply jump. We are forcing our assembler to jump without checking any conditions, without checking any conditional structures, right? Then I'm saying it to jump to the exit, jump to the exit, that is this particular lever. Inside the lever I'm just doing what, call, read and exit. I'm just exiting from the code. So I hope you got it. So let's try to run it. I'm going to enter A, but as I have told that it is not going to display the entered value on the screen. So let's enter A. Entered character is smaller because we know that A is less than C, so displayed entered character is smaller. So that's it for today. Thank you.